America.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Bank Strong, and the Ad Council.
Drinking and driving causes serious harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. In 2021, 65 people were killed in Nebraska by a car crash involving a drunk driver. Do not drink and drive. By drinking less, you can still be here for your loved ones. If you or loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I think it's just vapor.
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous.
5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
on the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
When you teach your children how to set and reach goals, you'll do more than just help them succeed in school. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Motivation and goal setting build confidence and instill a drive that will benefit children their entire lives. It will also help them become more positive thinkers. Working together, parents and teachers are a powerful team for student success.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Now, to tie it back to Nebraska men's basketball, this group has a chance to do something that hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
You know, in making a run in the Big Ten tournament, a serious run, and winning the first NCAA tournament game, but they're not going to get there by doing the same things they've always done. It is on this team to step up and change that narrative. It won't change on its own. Teams won't lay over for you, and that's the mindset shift we haven't consistently seen yet.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey guys, Jake Sorensen here from Early Break. The garage door at our house has been needing replacement for a couple years, and a few months ago, we finally did something about it. Steve's Garage Doors and Services was great through the whole process in providing options and also going to the next level to get a door that was approved by our HOA. And best of all, the removal of the old door and installation of the new door was done smoothly with no issues. Call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today at 402-480-2840.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Bagels and Joe is the perfect place for breakfast or lunch in March. Try their pesto cream cheese on any breakfast sandwich. For lunch, try the salmon panini with provolone, sesame oil, and tomatoes on a ciabatta roll with bagel chips. Perfect for Lent. 4 locations in Lincoln and 1 in Seward. Bagels and Joe.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Welcome into The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into The Breeze. I'm Harrison Arns on the 1s and 2s, back here live at the 1040 Ticket Studios on what is turning out to be a pretty nice and warm Sunday. We got men's basketball, we got girls basketball. The Cornhuskers both were leading at half. The men started back up, off to a good start, currently leading the Michigan Wolverines 59-48. And a real quick update on the girls' side, halftime girls lead that one as well, 46-35 over the number 3 Iowa Hawkeyes. But nonetheless, let's bring them in. The host, as always, we got just Haas today, no DP, as he's been covering Supernovas, getting back from Orlando. But nonetheless, we got one of them. Haas, how's it going, man?
Before we talk about the women, let's talk about wrestling for 1 second, and then we could talk a lot about basketball and everything else. SmackDown on Friday. It was electric. So I don't know if you got to see any clips of it.
Twitter. I was following along on Twitter. I was not live watching the whole thing.
So I wish we still had our other names where you're Solo and DP's The Rock and I'm Roman Reigns from last week, since Roman Reigns asked The Rock to acknowledge him. So let's start the show with this. Lincoln, Nebraska, acknowledge us. So the bloodline being together, although it's going to be temporary, I'm sure The Rock and Roman Reigns will fight eventually. But my wife, who doesn't watch wrestling, was saying, The Rock is the bloodline. The Rock is the bloodline. So for them to be together, for them to share the same sayings, finally, The Rock has come back to the bloodline. Or if you smell what the bloodline is cooking, or acknowledge us instead of acknowledge me. That's some smart wrestling. So kudos to the WWE taking the distraction from all the stuff that was happening with Vince McMahon and Brock Lesnar and changing it. And now it's all about The Rock, all about the bloodline, all about Cody's story. And the attention's there. And 4 weeks from now, it's going to be legendary.
One more thing I do want to talk about. This one, I'll be honest, confused me. I saw it. It was pretty entertaining to watch the whole thing through. What's with Randy Orton stealing Logan Paul's brass knuckles? That was I was watching that, and it just looks about as crazy as I'm describing it. Randy Orton stealing Logan Paul's brass knuckles.
So the beauty of Randy Orton is he does whatever he wants. So if he's supposed to be a good guy, if he's supposed to be a bad guy, it's Randy Orton. So he doesn't care. Let's say he is a good guy, he'll still RKO his best friends just because it's Randy Orton. So Randy Orton does whatever he wants, whenever he wants. And so there's no explanation on Randy Orton doing that.
Just Randy Orton being Randy Orton. I gotta say, definitely still a crowd favorite for me. RKO, that is the one guy that stuck true throughout my entire. I know when it comes to pro wrestling, it seems like it's coming up to another peak right now. But definitely early 2000s, early teens, felt like it was in a low period. But the one thing that always stuck around was I had to watch around the corner for an RKO. If someone was screaming it, I knew I had to prepare myself. But nonetheless, any other highlights from Friday Night SmackDown? That was March 8th.
I mean, it doesn't matter. So that's what I explained to my wife. She was coming in and out of the room, and I was like, huh. So they put the Bloodline and Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes at the end because in case The Rock goes for 40 minutes again, like he did the week before, well, they cut it off because they have to go to the next segment. And unfortunately, right at 10 o'clock Eastern time, The Rock got slapped by Cody Rhodes because he said that this was funny. He brought about his sister being a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, and then his brother being an older brother who's going to be a future Hall of Famer, and then said there's a 20-year age gap And so with that 20-year age gap between the siblings, he said, clearly, you're a mistake. And so with that, then Cody Rhodes got to slap The Rock back because The Rock slapped Cody Rhodes at the event that DP was at in Las Vegas during Super Bowl weekend. So that was pretty cool. I don't know what happened after, and those of us here that had TV and weren't in Dallas, Texas, and didn't go searching for what happened after SmackDown went off the air, got to miss all that. But it's going to be things that I want to go to SmackDown next week. If The Rock is there, I want to be there. It's going to be better than WrestleMania because WrestleMania is going to be fighting and Jimmy cheating and Solo cheating and then Jay somehow being involved. And there's going to be things like that. But the talking is the best part of wrestling. And with the Rock talking again, this just brings back so many memories for older heads like me.
I will say that, how long do you think this storyline with The Rock goes for? I don't think he's ever going to pull himself away completely, but he is 51 years old. That hasn't always necessarily mattered when it comes to pro wrestling. But how long do you think this Rock storyline continues to kind of be in the forefront of pro wrestling?
And sorry, it's breaking up.
Yep, I can still hear you. You're frozen up a little bit, but I got your audio clear.
It's all about what he's doing outside of it. So with the UFL starting up very soon, merger of the XFL and the USFL, and The Rock being in charge of that. The one thing that The Rock said that was interesting was he reminded and let everyone know that he's on the board of TKO, which is bigger than WWE. And so he reminded Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes that he's their boss. And so with that, he does whatever he wants. And so the beauty of wrestling has always been when the star wrestler fights against the leadership, fights against the machine. So Stone Cold Steve Austin against Vince McMahon, Daniel Bryan against Triple H. So all these people fighting against the authority, fighting against the leadership. So now The Rock is the leadership, the authority. They're putting him as it's always the bad guy as the leadership. And so putting The Rock as the leadership bad guy role and allowing Cody and I guess a little bit of Seth to overcome all that's really cool. And I don't understand. Like, the fans are fully in support of Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. I don't understand why they would be against The Rock. I just don't get it. And I really enjoyed Cody winning Royal Rumble. You should be able to like The Rock and still like Cody. I don't know why people like Seth Rollins. I don't get it. They're starting to say things that we're not allowed to say in 2024 about Seth Rollins, which I'm like, okay, cool. That's what they're doing on Friday. So everyone loves Seth Rollins. DP thinks so highly of him. I don't like the shtick that he's had lately of where he's turned and how he dresses like his wife and this and that. So.
Yeah, that last one. I'll agree with you on that last one. Absolutely. Before we get off wrestling, give me who are the up and comers, the guys that aren't necessarily the headliners on the way out, but some of the wrestlers that are catching your eye that you think could have a promising storylines coming up here or upcoming fights even.
So I was thinking of DP because there was a Gunther Dom Mysterio match on Monday, and it was really, really, really good. It was really good. And
hold on, you saying Gunther actually had a good, entertaining match out there?
Gunther's been they've put him on this pedestal, and they've done it for a while, and he's just beaten so many people. And again, last Royal Rumble, he was second. He eliminated Brock Lesnar, and he lost. He was the second person. So the last person to touch the ground was Gunther. So you don't just do that. The last person to touch the ground this year and the second to last person to touch the ground. So the last person was CM Punk. The second to last was Gunther. So they have so many things in line for Gunther, and now he's actually speaking well, and he's starting to get in shape. His legs are still pencils.
Yeah, I was gonna say the legs. I was like, you're saying he's starting to get in shape. I just saw a picture of him. He's the leg day. He could still use some leg days. That looks a little off.
But if you look at him compared to 2-3 years ago, he's definitely evolved and transformed. But we need to go and post old videos of like a year ago or 8 months ago where I'm like, Dom and Gunther are going to be the future for the next couple of years, and DP's just laughing me out of the room because
Yeah.
they are really starting to push both of them.
We probably got them archived somewhere. We could definitely find those because I do know. I mean, this show has not always been kind to Gunther, so I know he's a big fan, big listener. I know if you're listening out there, Haas is on your side, revealing the redemption arc you're on. Yeah, when it comes to Gunther, we'll see. I guess for me, it's just I don't know personality wise who he's supposed to be. I get it that he's in the mix, but I'm not in love with I guess you could say he's getting better on the mic. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention enough. But to me, it's just the personality. I'd never know what I was getting behind with him.
He's Ivan Drago, so he's filling that role well. And the thing that matters is he physically dominates his opponents. So when he beats them, it's a power bomb that just really has a loud thud.
Mm-hmm.
It's a smack or clothesline that has a really loud thud. And so that's where it's legitimate. It's like, okay, it's not just cheating and because bad guys cheat to win all the time. He's actually overpowering people, kind of like Rhea Ripley, kind of like Brock Lesnar would. And so with that, it's more believable. Again, he needs to have the body that Vince McMahon used to say was the must, the 6'5", 300 pounds, steroid bodybuilding body. And he has the frame for it. So it's going to be there. I mean, Jinder Mahal was a skinny stick. Wow, that was hard to say.
I got what you're saying.
At one point, and then you have all that back acne on him. So he became like 5 times the size that he used to be. So it's possible if you have that frame.
Yeah, that is true. We'll see what happens with Gunther. Before we get off of wrestling, when it comes to women wrestlers, is it Rhea Ripley the most exciting wrestler when it comes to the women's side right now? Because to me, it is. I think it's Rhea Ripley.
It's always been Rhea Ripley for me. Liv Morgan is up there, and she's trying to push her way into getting into Becky Lynch. The story with Damage Control is pretty good. What are they going to do with the EST and Jade Cargill? Those are things to look out for. But Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton is starting to come up, and fans are starting to give a big reaction for her. For Liv Morgan, it's more than looks, which is good for her. So if you have the moves, if you have the charisma, and then Liv Morgan's actually speaking well now too. So she's really trying to push her way into the main event scene, and being the last person to beat Rhea Ripley, she's up there too. They're not going to give her the main spot with so many other people up there, but she's someone that I think she was, she was the last person eliminated in the Royal Rumble as well.
Yeah, and
so those are important factors.
Absolutely. And again, if you guys want to take this wrestling conversation, get any more questions about it, 402-464-5685, Starter Heyman text line. Haas, you got anything else on that before we switch gears here?
No, Caitlin Clark had 4 points at halftime and 0 threes, and that's 0 threes for 3 straight quarters now against Nebraska, going into the fourth quarter of the last game that they lost at Nebraska.
Yep. She did finally hit one. She's 1 for 11 now, but starting in the second half, third quarter.
I wouldn't be surprised. Clark's going to go on a run. She's going to have 20 points coming in the second half. So the question is, can Nebraska still keep up the threes that they were making? Nebraska's just scoring from everywhere and just moving the ball around and being balanced, and the defense that Nebraska has put on Clark. DP has always talked about Nebraska, the women's team's defense, and it was 15-13 when we were on the air last time. That's a very, very low scoring quarter when the game was in Nebraska, and so for Nebraska to have under 40 points, Iowa to have under 40 points and a half, that really shows you how well that Nebraska is playing their defense. The play right before the half where they're like, okay, double team, take the ball out of Clark's hands. That was a really good job by Iowa to get the ball to the top of the key and then kick it out to the corner and bury a three. If it's an 8-point game as a coach, you're like, that's 2.5, 3 possessions, obviously 3 possessions, but you sell it. It's 8 is not that much. And then for Nebraska to come back and bury a 3 and make it 11, double-digit lead, 4 possession lead. Ooh, that's a little harder of a sell. So it's an awesome 3 by Nebraska right before the half to just come back after that back-breaking 3 by Iowa. So good job, Nebraska. Let's just see how the first 5 minutes. What's the score right now? How the first 5 minutes?
Right now, so about 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Iowa having a little bit of a comeback here, but it's not actually by Clark. It's a little bit of a team effort. They are clawing back, though. It's 52-47. Nebraska still 2 possession lead. And again, you talked about it. Caitlin Clark still not shooting the ball great. She's 4 for 17 on the field right now, 1 for 11 from the 3-point line. She's going to take a lot of threes. Your defense is going to predicate how many of those she's going to make. As you pointed out, so far it's been great defense by the women's Huskers.
And kudos for calling them women now. You call them girls by accident a lot.
They're women. I'm sure they could cross my ankles up, and if I called them a girl again, they'd cross my ankles, and they'd deserve to be called a woman. But no, they're great. And
box you out of the gym and throw some bows that would
their defense
have to get me to check on you in the hospital with how physical they are.
I'm glad you mentioned their defense because their defense is stingy. It's how they beat Iowa the first time, and right now they're at about 6 steals again, which is fantastic. There's been a few games here where you just look at the steal totals for Nebraska. They are incredibly active in the passing lanes. If you want to, take all of the air out of the basketball, you got to be careful with it. Nebraska, again and again, has proven to be playing really well on defense, not only in just playing in the passing lanes, but just good help defense rotating over, forcing a sloppy pass that you can go and run off with it. So again, you got to shut them out right now. Leading scorer for Nebraska is currently Potts. She is 5 for 11. She's got 14 points already, 4 for 4 from a charity stripe. And you got 8 points from Markowski. And let's see, Shelley's got 14 as well. So again, kind of a rounded effort there by Nebraska. No one quite leading the charge, just good round play and then just great defense. And you look at the men's side, they're up by 70-55, 15-point lead over the Michigan Wolverines. They were on pace to score 100 at the beginning of the half. They're still on pace to score over 100 right now. They're just having an electric shooting night. So again, it's just boding well. You're looking at this game for the men and the women's, both sitting themselves quite nicely here to go in not only to the Big Ten tournament, but March Madness seeding as well. When it comes to the women's side, I think we got anything more to say on that? Otherwise, on the men's side as well, just what about either of these teams, I'll let you pick, has really impressed you down the stretch here? Because let's be honest, February, March hasn't always been the greatest time to watch Husker basketball. This year, it has been different.
So 2 of Iowa's losses, Indiana 14th in the country at that time, 86-69. So Iowa only had 69 points in one of their losses, 79 in another loss at Nebraska. And then there was a loss earlier in the year at Kansas State. Nope, sorry. They scored 77 to win at versus Kansas State. So the 67 versus Iowa State. So all the other scores were 90, 100, 85. So 104, 98, 94, 103 versus Rutgers, 96 versus Wisconsin, in a loss to Ohio State, 92. So Iowa can clearly score. And if Nebraska can keep them under 70, then they'll win today.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, defense, just be real, defense is going to win you a lot of your March Madness games. I say it all the time, but it's true. I mean, you just look at who those teams are that typically make deep runs. Pro sports as well. If you don't have at least that top quarter defense, you're typically not going to be found past that Final Four hardly ever. So again, it's just good to see the defense for not only the women's side, but the men's side as well, as they're currently up by 15, just really dominating. When it does come to March Madness, what are some of the key elements of teams that you're looking at that they need to at least check these boxes if they're going to make a deep run? Is it a defensive efficiency, an offensive efficiency? Do they got to have a 5 or a strong rebounder? What are some of those key check boxes that you need to have marked off if you're going to put that team anywhere near a Final Four?
Yeah, so what we've talked about in the past for the teams that are successful is protecting the ball, defending well, and then getting easy baskets, whether that's wide open threes or layups. And so if you do all those things, I also feel having some leadership and seniority was the easiest route if you didn't have as much, if you didn't have the most talent. So Kentucky men's basketball would always make it to near the Final Four, but then wouldn't get over the hump despite being the fastest team, the best defensive team, the most skilled team, because they're always so young. So having some seniority, so like a Baycott at North Carolina for men, having that, having the experience, that does pay off. And so seeing that from the women's side, okay, well, I won't count out Iowa. Caitlin Clark has been there for a while, and she just played in a national championship game. Iowa's been there. South Carolina's been there. LSU's the reigning champion. So I wouldn't count them out either. And then when they added Van Lith, and she's got some I guess 5th-year senior there.
Yeah.
So some seniority. Then, and that's the hard part is like, okay, with COVID, with the transfers, like what year, what age are these actual players? So I wouldn't count out teams that have the experience. Now, Potts is a freshman, and she clearly stands out for the Big Ten and for Nebraska. She was a weapon on offense when I was watching her play. And so with all that, you can be younger and still be effective. But I'm just saying, in that moment, it is nice to have the older players there. So the George Mason's run in the Final Four, it was a team that had at least 4 seniors. And so that always overcomes. And that's why Jaquez, when he was drafted by Miami, he's someone I wanted the Lakers to draft. He UCLA went far for Jaquez when he was there, and he's been in big games, and then he's older. So if you're going to go play on a championship team like the Lakers, then you want someone that's already played for 4 or 5 years. That's why Brock Purdy was so successful. He's already played a lot. When you just go draft someone based on potential and talent, the 40 times, but they've only played 10 games in Division II games at that, Trey Lance, then it's a project. You don't know what it's actually going to be. But if you've had a quarterback who's played 50 college games and has been in Big Ten championships or Big 12 championship games, then that experience, that's maybe the ceiling is a little lower, but it's going to be there and it's going to help you. So what I'm trying to get at in that long-winded statement is experience matters, defense matters, shooting matters, and then protecting the ball matters. And so Nebraska men's basketball, we've talked about them, and I've said, if they go 3-1, this was a couple weeks ago, if they go 3-1, because I thought they'd lose at Ohio State, they could be a top 6. They could be a 6 in the NCAA tournament. And I was making fun of all the pom-com, rom-coms and all that. Those don't matter. Like if you are a 3 seed, and they could be, if they win against Michigan, are they a 3 seed? Did they win the tiebreaker?
Yeah, they get the tiebreaker. Put them at 3.
Okay, so they're a 3. So then it's Michigan State, Iowa, 3-6 kind of matchup for Nebraska. Okay, that's doable.
Probably Michigan State is what I think it's going to probably shake out to be Michigan State. But yeah, Michigan State or Iowa.
Okay, so if you face them, that's a coin flip, and so Nebraska wins 1 in the Big Ten tournament, then easily a 7 seed. Nebraska wins 2, so they beat Illinois or whoever Illinois has to face at this time. I don't know if it's Minnesota, Indiana. It's still up in the air, whoever it is. If Nebraska goes to the Big Ten championship game, why can't they be a 5 seed? Tell me why they can't be a 5 seed. If the second best quote unquote team in the best conference, they can't be one of the top 20 teams in the country.
I think they can be, but the way they've ranked these teams heading up into it, I just don't see that big of a jump. I can 6 maybe if you win the Big Ten championship, 6, 5. I just think we're really, really stretching out. I personally would see no problem having them that high, but again, I'm being biased. You look at the non-con schedule for Nebraska, the strength of schedule, that's what's really kills them. They do have good wins, but early on, it really, really was a pretty weak schedule. And that's why you see people get upset with Wisconsin. How is Wisconsin still high up? Yes, they probably have the same amount of quote unquote big wins as Nebraska, but they also had a lot more games that they could have lost earlier in the schedule. Their non-con was just way stronger, and that's why they got the benefit of the doubt. I also think, Wisconsin slipping as much as they have has kind of put them in a tough spot where they're trying to fit Wisconsin. They've kind of been slowly dropping down and down. But again, that earlier in the year, they had some pretty good games. That's why. So Nebraska, they could make a jump to go that high. Possibly. I don't see it though, but I wouldn't have any problems with it. Definitely 6-7. Yeah. If you win the Big Ten tournament, definitely could get a 7. If you're any higher than 7, I'd be surprised.
All right. Let's pause and not go to commercial break. Let's committee. Look at me real quick. Okay. Committee, Pay attention to this. It doesn't matter what you do in November. It doesn't matter what you do in October, December, or January. If you beat the top teams in the country in February and in March, and you are one of the top teams in the best conference, then you deserve to be one of the top teams in the NCAA tournament, period. It doesn't matter who you beat or lost to or where you played in November. It's where you are at the end of the year, and where Nebraska is at the end of the year to finish in the top 3, because they could have been 9, 10, 11, 12 in the conference. And then fine, that means you should make them an 8 seed or 9 seed. Fine. If they were 500 in the conference, fine, make them a 9 seed. Fine. But they are not. They are not. 12 wins in the Big Ten. That means they are a top 6 seed. Go to the Big Ten championship game. You must make them a 5 or better. And if for some reason they go on and beat Purdue again, then you must make them a 3 or a 4. And that's not bias. That's not bias. It's just you put a different name on it. Change it from Nebraska. Change it to Iowa. Change it to Wisconsin. Change it to Michigan State. If it was Michigan State, it would be a 2 seed. It would be a 2 seed. So that in itself is a disgrace. That look at you, committee. Pay attention. Look in my eyes. Just because you see the name Nebraska, you don't want to give them a 3 or a 4. The resume is there. Stop it. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I like that. Let's end on break on there. Again, Nebraska, we're talking about them in the tournament as well as the women's team as well. Don't go anywhere, because I do want to ask you about Duke, UNC, and some water bottles on the court as well. So we'll talk about that next, as I'm sure House is excited. Don't go anywhere.
Attention all Nebraska basketball fans. The NCAA tournament is coming soon, and Nebraska looks to be on its way to their first appearance in 10 years. Better Tree Removal wants to celebrate the occasion and any possible success in the tournament by offering a deal. If you're in need of tree removal on your property, call or text Todd by March 20th. If Nebraska wins the first round game, you'll get 25% off the bid. If they win 2, you'll get 50% off. You must contact Todd at 402-780-1377 before March 20th.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to crowd favorite beer, Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today. Spring is here. It's time to get back outside and into proper shoes this year. Brown Shoe Fit is the place to buy this spring with their sale on athletic shoes. Get $15 off any regular price athletic shoes with respected brands like Hoka, Brooks, New Balance, and On Running. And don't forget, Browns carries a large arrangement of sizes and widths to fit your feet properly. Start your spring off right at Brown Shoe Fit, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the defense of liberty for those accused and the pursuit of justice for those injured. Liberty Law Group's relentless trial attorneys specialize in criminal defense and personal injury law. We believe in treating every client with respect, compassion, and understanding. We know that navigating the legal system is stressful and overwhelming, but Liberty Law Group will carry that burden for you. When you're facing legal issues, make the right call. 877-42-LIBERTY. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
When you teach your children how to set and reach goals, you'll do more than just help them succeed in school. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Motivation and goal setting build confidence and instill a drive that will benefit children their entire lives. It will also help them become more positive thinkers. Working together, parents and teachers are a powerful team for student success.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
You're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weekends. I'm Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. The host, as always, Haas Tabrizi, streaming in. No DP, as he's in the air right now. Coming back from Orlando after he's getting back from his Supernovas coverage. We got hoops on. We got the women's playing Iowa. We got the men trying to close out so they can get that double bye and clinch that double bye for the Big Ten tournament. They just got to beat Michigan today, and they're currently leading it 77-62 with about 7 minutes, 30 seconds left to go. And we will have Austin Orman, Jake Bachman. They'll be here as soon as the clock hits 0 for the post-game show. Likely to be right after this one. So be sure to stay plugged in. If you want to catch an update, a full synopsis of the game against Michigan, we'll have that one after this. But Haas, before we went to break, I did ask you, John Scheyer, Duke head coach. We talked about this before. Obviously, Flipkowski gets hurt with court storming. You heard the head coach for Duke get very adamant on needing to control the fans. Duke loses to UNC at home. Duke fans throwing water bottles at the UNC players, and Duke head coach is just apologizing for the loss, not criticizing the fans at all. Seems like a little bit of hypocrisy for me. We're talking about the players' safety. Then the own head coach doesn't condemn his own fans for throwing water bottles, but he's going to condemn fans for storming the court.
Does he know it happened?
I don't know how you wouldn't. It was pretty immediate after the game. Not everybody was off the court yet.
Okay. That would be my first question. Does he know it happened?
I would give him a 1% benefit of the doubt. I'm 99% sure. There's no way he could have missed it.
Second, I would want to know the question that was asked, because that matters.
He just didn't bring it up at all. No one really pressured him on it. But again, if you're gonna criticize other people's fans, you can't be letting your own fans be throwing water bottles. That's where my problem was. I just thought it was a bit of a hypocrisy from the own head coach that was condemning fans, but won't say anything to his own.
Again, I don't know the whole story, so I would have to see it. I would have to see what the question was asked. Like maybe he answered something later on it, and
okay,
it just
that's
wasn't.
Fair. Let's swing gears then. Duke, sneaky, kind of good. I know they lost to UNC, but do you like Duke in March Madness this year?
No.
Okay, maybe we don't need to talk about Duke at all.
They don't look that good.
They're up and down. There's some sneaky, if you're advanced analytics guys, there's some sneaky margins that'll tell you that's a team you might be willing to bet on a little higher. But again, we'll stay off of Duke then. Give me your teams.
They're not the same kind of Duke that they're not the same kind of Duke that they always are. Now, hold on. Before the break, we were talking about the Big Ten, and I'm saying they're the best conference based on the top 25 rankings. They don't think that anymore. And okay, fine. Is the Big 12 what's that?
I don't think it's the best conference. Big Ten?
I know, but it's been the strongest conference for a while. And so the way that okay, fine. Is it a top 3 conference then?
Big East. Yeah,
Big East.
Yeah. Big East top heavy, but Big East is strong. What are you looking at? Are you looking at contenders or just top to bottom whole strength? Because then the Big Ten has a better argument because they don't have world beaters, but they got just solid teams top to bottom.
Purdue's a world beater.
Until they get to the tournament. I guess Purdue's kind of one of the problems. Tom Izzo's the last. You'd have to go, well, Frank Kaminsky, Wisconsin. There just hasn't been Big Ten teams that have ever really led the charge to make me even think, even though it's strong, I don't look at the Big Ten as ever a dominant conference because when it gets to March, when it really matters, you're lucky, really lucky to see one or even two of those teams in the Sweet 16. It's just been that way for the past, well, since really I got really plugged into it. You're lucky to get a couple teams into the Sweet 16 as a Big Ten basketball fan. So I can't argue that it's a really strong conference.
I don't know if my mic's working. Is it working?
Yep. It's a little muffled, but we can try to adjust it over the break. I think we're just losing the Wi-Fi a little bit here. Haas, while you get that set up, try to get your mic figured back out. We'll throw it back to here for a little bit. So Haas, I'm going to pull you out of the stream and just give me a thumbs up when you're unfrozen there for me, and I'll plug you back in. But okay, looks like we're back with Haas Tabrizi. Nonetheless, go ahead. What were you saying?
Is my mic working?
Yeah, we're good. Now it sounds great.
All right. I don't know what's going on. Gotta love being able to stream from my home in the DMV in Washington, D.C.
The jerseys always look nice behind you. At the very least. You got a nice setup back there.
There you go. So I don't know. The ACC is not that strong anymore.
Yes, I agree.
The ACC, it's not. So the ACC was always the best conference. The Big East was always up there. Now it's, I guess, the Big 12.
Oddly enough, yeah, they're climbing up there. I don't know how confident, but certainly recent history, yeah, they're up there.
So Houston, obviously, being in the Big 12 just makes them the powerhouse. Looking at BYU being a top 20 team, just because they played in all those games against those quote unquote good teams, that's where my problem is there's some strong bias right now against the Big Ten, and there's some strong bias against Nebraska. That was my point before the break. And so if you put that resume with a different name, and what's bothering me is these non-powerhouse teams are ranked. So let's say we were in a coma for a couple years, okay? Or even a year. But let's just go through the top 25. And if I told you, here, one sec, unless you have it up, that San Diego State is a powerhouse now in men's basketball because they just lost in the national championship in their top 25 team, you'd be like, no, that's just not true.
Yeah, probably.
Right?
They're sitting 22-9, but I'd still think.
Okay. South Florida.
They're 24. Yeah, no, definitely no. No.
St. Mary's at 24-7.
No.
Dayton, who lost to George Mason.
Yeah, maybe because I saw him in March Madness a long time ago when I was younger, but no, not as a prominent powerhouse.
Utah State.
Absolutely not.
Now, if these schools had 0 losses or 1 loss a couple years ago, it would make sense that they're in the top 25. Dayton has 6 losses. South Florida has 6 losses. St. Mary's of California, just to be clear, because there's another one in Maryland, has 7 losses. Utah State, 5 losses. San Diego State, 9 losses. BYU, 9 losses. Now, they're part of the Big 12, but I don't know how many big wins they have looking at their schedule. Gonzaga is a perennial powerhouse now.
Yep.
Washington State. South Carolina, when I see them, I see their women's program, but the SEC, cool. Alabama, 10 losses. Kentucky, okay, Kentucky always is there. Kansas, yep. Auburn's become a perennial. Illinois, Baylor. Creighton is up there now with all that they've done with 8 losses. Duke, Marquette, UNC, Iowa State, Arizona, Tennessee, Purdue, UConn, and Houston. So, and Houston has been a 1 seed for the last couple of years, but I mean, the Ralph Sampson, Akeem Olajuwon, all those days, Houston hasn't been a powerhouse for a really long time. I just named 6-7 teams in the bottom, maybe 8 teams in the bottom that most people wouldn't know what their mascots are.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think that also just speaks to the game and how much it's grown, because this team that I'm very high on with Nebraska, that's leading Michigan Wolverines 83-64, that's going for win 22 to go a 12-8 in conference play, is the same team that just barely scraped by North Dakota, a quad 4 team at the early in the season. If you have 2 good players, you can push some of these elite teams, and it just kind of depends if you're going to have that type of night. So part of it, I just think we're going to get more chaotic as time goes on, because there's just that many good basketball players. And when it's a 5-man team, if you got 2 studs, which North Dakota did that day, you can push some of the best teams. So part of it, yes, if you swapped out Nebraska's name for Michigan State, there's no question they'd be sitting a lot better than where they're at now. You can argue the history, a little bit of that, but I do think it's just going to get more and more chaotic. And I don't expect these lesser known schools, call them that, but shouldn't, these lesser known schools to quote unquote keep showing up, because I do think the level of talent is just getting that much more spread out, especially with foreign players coming in here. You can go on this team, you can be the star guy, as opposed to go to Gonzaga and kind of what we see with South, sit back, as opposed to really branch out somewhere else. You're going to see some of these teams that you wouldn't necessarily think belong have some of these better runs. You're seeing that more and more often. Like, it felt like ever since Virginia lost to the 16 seed Golden Retrievers, now all of a sudden those upsets feel more frequent, and they're not as surprising either. I mean, the St. Peter's Peacock run will forever go down in history, and that was shortly after the 16 seed lost. Then it lost again, and then now we're St. Peter's Peacocks era. So who knows who that team's going to be this year, but I'm not going to be surprised, put it that way, because I just think the talent's that much better. We'll throw it to break. When we come back, we'll have one more segment with Hosta Breezy on the Breeze, and we should have some Husker Hoops post-game as well, as they're looking to close this thing out and get the double bye, clinch themselves into that Big Ten tournament. So don't go anywhere. Plenty left here ahead on Ticket Weekends.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
Jake Sorensen here for The Body Shop. My wife is nearing her due date with our first child and has been in need of a good massage as her body continues to change and adapt. Dennis and the team at The Body Shop were incredible with the prenatal massage that she's still talking about today. I was also able to get a deep tissue massage, so it was a great bonding experience and a unique couples massage in general. If you're in need of stress relief, book a massage today at thebodyshoplincoln.com. The Body Shop at 48th and A.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Attention all Nebraska basketball fans. The NCAA tournament is coming soon, and Nebraska looks to be on its way to their first appearance in 10 years. Better Tree Removal wants to celebrate the occasion and any possible success in the tournament by offering a deal. If you're in need of tree removal on your property, call or text Todd by March 20th. If Nebraska wins the first round game, you'll get 25% off the bid. If they win 2, you'll get 50% off. You must contact Todd at 402-780-1377 before March 20th.
When you teach your children how to set and reach goals, you'll do more than just help them succeed in school. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Motivation and goal setting build confidence and instill a drive that will benefit children their entire lives. It will also help them become more positive thinkers. Working together, parents and teachers are a powerful team for student success.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the defense of liberty for those accused and the pursuit of justice for those injured. Liberty Law Group's relentless trial attorneys specialize in criminal defense and personal injury law. We believe in treating every client with respect, compassion, and understanding. We know that navigating the legal system is stressful and overwhelming, but Liberty Law Group will carry that burden for you. When you're facing legal issues, make the right call. 877-42-LIBERTY. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most, for all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The Electrical Workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
As the chief buffet officer here at Pizza Ranch, I get all kinds of buffet questions. Here's one from Cole.
Is there a real cactus in your cactus bread?
Great question, Cole. No, there is no cactus in our cactus bread, just sweet cinnamony streusel. It's on our buffet every day, along with pizza, chicken, ice cream, and all your other favorites. Even better, at least for your parents, kids eat free on Tuesday nights. And don't worry, Cole, there's no coal in our coleslaw either.
Pizza Ranch, everyone's favorite buffet.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
You did feel the need to cuss in this one. Yeah, you cannot be
this mentally fragile. Act like you're a damned NCAA tournament team.
Listen, I'm not going to change the way I tweet.
Do you think Fred
That's
saw
me.
the tweet? Do you think Fred saw the tweet and called a timeout? And they're like, Sorensen's upset. I got to get this.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, wrapping things up here with the breeze on what is a nice and warming up a little bit here on the Sunday afternoon. We got the Husker Hoops postgame show. Should start right up after this one because it's about 1 minute left to go here. Nebraska leading at 85-68. One more update on the women's side. That one is coming down to the wire. 73-67, 2 minutes, 30 seconds left to go. Caitlin Clark is starting to pick it back up. Haas, she did get to 23 points. She is 9 for 24 as of now. But nonetheless, we'll throw it back to you. We got a little bit of time here. Where do you want to go before we wrap things up? And it looks like we might have actually lost Haas. Haas, can you hear me all right?
No, I'm here.
Okay, yeah. Where do you want to wrap?
Yeah,
we got a little bit of time here. What do you want to wrap up with?
Yeah, it was no surprise that Clark would get 20 points in the second half. I know she has 19, but that's no surprise. You can't just hold the best player in the world to that little. A couple things, and that is pretty cool to keep that deficit. So 7-point lead right now with 2 minutes to go. So let's keep going, women's Nebraska. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So back to the men real quick. San Diego State is the 5th seed in their own conference. And is that the Pac-12? Is that the Big 12? It's the Mountain West. They are the 5th seed in the Mountain West. Okay. And they are a top 25 team in the country. Nebraska, in about 1 minute, will be the 3 seed in the Big 12. That's what I was trying to say. It is just baffling that there's just so much disrespect towards Nebraska men's basketball.
Yeah. This year, I want to call it out, but the Mountain West is having a fantastic year of basketball.
Why? They've only beaten themselves. I looked at Utah State's schedule. They beat San Diego State. They beat one other team. And they aren't that good of a team. And so now Utah State is a top 25 team also. Come on, get out of here. Nebraska beat Purdue, almost beat Illinois, and then they beat Wisconsin. Like, we're going to punish Nebraska for losing to Creighton?
Colorado State did beat Creighton. And that is a Mountain West school. Good year for the Mountain West. I'm still going to lean with you, though. They are ranked too high. I will agree with you on that. It is a little too much of a gracious period. Utah
Colorado
State
was
leading the
up there
conference
for a while, and then now they're like the 6th seed or 7th seed in the Mountain West. So unless Jerry Tarkanian's coming back out, sorry, the Mountain West. If there was how there's SEC, ACC matchups, like the whatever they have those things. If they have a Mountain West Big Ten type thing, the Big Ten will destroy them.
You heard it there first. That's Haas DeBreezy. And you know what? Knock on wood. If Nebraska can just win March Madness game, who knows what that does for the future? Maybe they get looked at a little more kindly when they're putting these rankings together next season. But we got to get out of here. When we come back, final score, Nebraska wins it 85-70 over the Michigan Wolverines. The women's game still coming down to the wire. 77-point
lead.
They'll probably talk about that one too. So don't go anywhere. Plenty left here on Ticket Weekend.